Now we're actually going to do some problems with these, actually doing this. We're going to do 6 problems pretty quick. First of all, we're going to do them finding the ratios, and then we're going to use the arc sines are the second thing. Now, if you'll notice over here, I've put this socato over here because I use it all the time. I have to refer to it all the time, so I'll make sure I'm using the right thing. When we're solving one of these problems, you'll be typically given some sort of triangular shape or form. And if we're finding ratios, then what will happen is you'll be given an angle with a degree. All these are in right triangles. You'll be typically given one side of this, and then you'll be given an x that we're supposed to find. What you have to look at and determine is, okay, I'm standing right here. So we're going to put our little body right here. Okay? This is where we're standing. We're standing right here. Now, if I'm standing right there, what do I know? I know 97 and I know x. Well, I told you at the very beginning, it's very important for you to get into this so you understand, are you adjacent, opposite, or the hypotenuse? Well, where's the hypotenuse? It's right here because it's across from the 90-degree angle. There's no hypotenuse involved here, is it? Well, sine involves hypotenuse. Cosine involves hypotenuse, doesn't it? If there's no hypotenuse involved, then what we're going to be looking for is what? We're going to be looking for the tangent. Okay? We're going to be using the tangent to solve this problem because there's no hypotenuse involved. So, let's do tangent. Where we're standing, and the angle we're on is 56 degrees. So that's where we are. Now, the tangent is the opposite divided by the adjacent. Well, what's our opposite? Our opposite is what? X. So, what's the adjacent? It's 97. Okay? Alright. So, how do we use our calculator to do this? Well, let's do the algebra. In order to get x by itself, we've got to multiply both sides by 97. When we do that, we end up with a 97 times tangent of 56 degrees equals x. Okay? So how do we enter that in our calculator? It's pretty simple. Just come along here, we enter 97 multiplied, okay, multiplication symbol, whatever that is, tan 56, and then enter. Okay? So what we would enter in our calculator is 97. Hit the multiplication button. Okay? Hit the tangent button. Press 5, 6. Press the parenthesis close and press enter. And you should get 143.81. Okay? You should get 143.81 to 2 decimal places. Make sure your calculator is in degree mode. Okay? Do our original math to get this in where we got x by itself, and then this is what we would put in to actually get what x equals. Okay? Let's do another one, and we'll do cosine this time. Same type of problem, see what happens. Okay, this time we're looking at the same triangle, same angle. We're standing at the same place because we're always going to stand on that angle that they give us. We have the same 97 over here, measurement of this over here. We're looking at standing here. Now what do we have? Well, y represents a hypotenuse, so we're obviously going to have TOA is out, so we're not going to be using tangent. We're going to be using the sine or the cosine. So which one do we have? Well, what's the 97 represent? Is it an opposite or is it adjacent? It's adjacent. So, since we have adjacent and the hypotenuse, this is going to be a cosine problem. So we're going to be looking at the cosine. Cosine of 56 degrees equals what? The adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. Well, what's the adjacent here? It's the leg or the side leg that I can touch, So that's going to be 97 divided by y. Okay? All right? 97 divided by y. So when we do our math to get everything taken care of, we really would like that y by itself, so we're going to multiply both sides by y. What happens? We get this, y times cosine of 56 degrees equals 97. We really wouldn't like y by itself, so we're going to divide everything by the cosine of 56. Cosine of 56. Well, what happens over here? Cosine of 56 is divided by itself, so we end up with y equals 97 over cosine of 56. Now, what's another way to do this? You can simply come over here and go cosine 56 equals 97 over y. Put this over 1. Okay? What do you get? You get y times the cosine of 56 equals 97 divided by cosine 56 divided by cosine 56. This goes away. You end up with the same thing. This is what we're going to solve to get y. Okay? Now, how do we put it in our calculator? Let's put it in our calculator. I want to get this, so I'm going to put in 97 divided by cosine 56, close parenthesis, and enter. And again, you should get a, you should get, let's see what we get. You should get 173.46, 173.46. Okay? All right? So this is how we would do this one. You have adjacent, you have hypotenuse. Which one is that? SOHCAH or TOA? Adjacent hypotenuse is a CAH. Okay, so that's a cosine. So we're going to be doing a cosine calculation, and here's how we took care of doing that. All right? Okay, let's do one that involves the sine. Okay, so here's another one, and use a little bit different. Let's look at it, see how it goes. We're standing in the same place. We still have the 56 degrees, except this time we have a number for our hypotenuse, and then if we look over here, z represents the opposite. So we have a hypotenuse involved. Is tangent, are we going to be doing the tangent? Does tangent include the hypotenuse? No, it does not. So we're not going to be using the tangent. We're going to be using either sine or cosine because it involves hypotenuse. Now, the difference between these two, sine includes the opposite, cosine includes the adjacent. Adjacent is the side I can touch, the leg I can touch. Z is not the leg I can touch. It's the one across from this angle. So it's the opposite one. So we're going to be looking at the sine. Okay? So we're going to be calculating the sine. All right? So we're standing at 56. So we're looking at sine 56 equals opposite over hypotenuse. What's the opposite? The opposite is z over the hypotenuse, which is 173. Okay? We want to get z by itself. What do? We multiply both sides by 173. Okay? All right? So we got 173 sine of 56 equals z divided by 173 times 173. What happens over here? That goes away, and we're left with 173 times sine of 56 equals z. Okay? So how do we enter that into our nice little calculator? Well, this is a problem that we came up with. So we would press 173, multiplication symbol, sine 56, close parenthesis, and enter. Now you ought to come up with somewhere real close to 143 because we've already calculated that side before, and I think we got 143.42 or somewhere close to that. Okay? That's what we've been doing. Now, so what we've done is we've shown you how to use the different information that you have. Okay? If a hypotenuse is involved, you're going to use sine or cosine. If it's not involved, it's always going to be tangent. Okay? If the hypotenuse and the opposite is involved, it's going to be involving the sine. If it's adjacent in the hypotenuse, it's going to be the cosine. Okay? So it's very important you understand where you are. Place yourself. Stand on that thing. Look at it, and where are you? You know, just imagine yourself standing there. You know, bad stick figure. But that's what you need to do. Now we're going to look at the opposite of finding the angles using known sides.